All right, good afternoon, y'all. So today what I want to do is kind of go over some examples with rational expressions. So let's go ahead and start off with this first one. We'll have 1 over 3m plus 6m minus 9 over 3m equals 3m minus 3 over 3m. Okay, so that's our equation that we're kind of starting off with. So we know a rational expression is just nothing but a simple fraction, right? So when we're adding or subtracting fractions, just kind of revisiting our subtraction or addition and subtraction rule. So let's say if we said, well, 1/2 plus 1/2. Well, this is a rational expression as well, right? So we know since the denominators are the same and the numerators are different, we add the numerators, which will be 2 over 2, which thus will equal 1. So I'm just kind of revisiting that so you understand that this is just simply nothing but a fraction, right? Even though 3m is our denominator, right? This is just simply a fraction. So let's go ahead and add these, right? So what we can say here is if we just add the top between these two terms, right, we can say that this is going to come out to be 6m minus 9 plus 1, and all that's going to be over 3m, and it's still going to be equivalent to 3m minus 3. All right, so now that we still have this, I'm sorry, this is still going to be over 3m. All right, so now that we still have this, we're just going to combine like terms in here. So we know we have a -9 here and a +1. So what we can say is that's going to be 6m minus 8 over 3m equals 3m minus 3. Still over 3m. Okay, cool. So now we have this. Well, since the denominators are the same, technically in this case, because we're just trying to find the value of m up top, we can just drop them, right? So let's go ahead and drop them. This is a good color, yeah. All right, so let's say if we drop them here, right? You know, if we're just considering our numerators here, we'll say this is 6m minus 8, and that's going to be equal to 3m minus 3. All right, so we have them set equal. Now it's just some pre-algebra, right? So we're going to subtract 3m on both sides. All right, so then that's going to be 3m minus 8 equals -3. All right, you know we can go ahead and add our 8. So we have 3m equals +5. Well, we divide both sides by 3. All right, over here we'll have m equals 5 over 3. All right, so that's it for the first one. All we did was we noticed that the denominators were the same, so we were able just to add our numerators, right, to figure out our answer. So our answer will be m equals 5 over 3. All right, so let's kind of bump up the ante a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to try another one where we might have to convert first. Yeah, that looks icy. All right, so let's talk about this one. Let's say if we had the equation 12t plus t minus 8 equals 0. Okay, so one of the things that we can kind of think about right off the back is what are the denominators of the t and the -8 term, right? What will be the denominators of the t? And this would just be t over 1, and then this is -8 over 1. Well, we noticed that all of our denominators aren't the same. So we know in order to add or subtract fractions, all of our denominators need to be the same. So let's say if we found our LCD, right? Well, you can kind of find this by just multiplying your t, right, and your 1 here, right, because then that'll tell you what all your denominators can be. So when we multiply those two together, we just get t. Okay, so we know we need to, in order to add these, we need to kind of get them all with a denominator of t, right? So first, what we are going to have to do is we're going to have to, here I'm going to rewrite each term. So let's say this was 12 over t, this was t over 1, and let's say this is negative 8 over 1. Okay, so we know we need to multiply each one by t. Top and bottom. Well, we can actually leave this 12 over t one alone. It already has a denominator of t, right? And that's all we're looking for, so we can check that off. Let's say we're talking about this one. So this top one, I'm going to multiply by t over t, right? We're going to multiply just by this here. Well, when we multiply these two together, we know t times t is going to give us t squared over t. Okay, cool. So we're going to do the same thing to this negative 8 as well. T up top, t at the bottom. Okay, so we know this is going to become negative 8t over t. Okay, so now that we have all three of our rewritten terms, let's rewrite the equation here, right? So let's say, I'm going to just move over. We're going to say this is 12t, right? We're still adding this term here, so plus t squared over t minus 8t over t. That's still going to equal 0. Okay, so well, what we notice is all of them have the same denominator. So actually, we can drop our denominator and just use our numerators now. So let's say we used our numerators, right? And I just like switching up the colors. So we're going to use a little bit of a blue, right? So let's say if we just took our numerators, right? We could say this is 12 plus t squared minus 8t equals 0. Okay, well, anytime you see this, you should notice that if your leading term is squared, you have a quadratic. So let's put it in standard form. Let's say this is t squared minus 8t plus 12 equals 0. Okay, so once you kind of have it in standard form, the main thing you should be asking yourself is the quadratic factorable. So we know our leading coefficient is 1, so all we need to know is, are there factors of 12 that add up to negative 8? So let's say we had our factors 1, 12, 2 and 6, okay, and 3 and 4, right? So 2 and 6, well, we know we need to be a positive 12, so we know both of these can be negative. So let's rewrite this as t minus 6, right, times t minus 2 equals 0. Well, we know we're almost done because, you know, t can potentially have two answers. So let's say we said t minus 6 equals 0, and we just solve for t. So t here will equal 6. That's one of our cases. Or potentially t minus 2 equals 0. Well, let's say if we add 2 to both sides, well, you just get t equals 2. So here's our other potential answer. All right, so hopefully that kind of gave you just kind of like a brief overview or help kind of brush up on some of your rational expressions. Please look forward to more videos explaining, you know, higher level math content in a simple way. So please, you know, like, comment, or subscribe to anything underneath. All right. Hey, man, have a blessed one, y'all. Peace.